Thank you, Mr. President. I thank Gabon for convening the open debate on this important topic. I thank the Deputy Secretary General, Ms. Amina Mohammed, for her insights. I also thank Executive Director of UN Women, Ms. Ima Bahous, AU Special Envoy, Ms. Benita Diop, and Civil Society Representative, Ms. Zahra Nader, for their briefings. Mr. President, women empowerment and gender equality are prerequisites for building peaceful, inclusive, and resilient societies. Sustainable peace cannot be achieved unless violence against women is eliminated and their equal and meaningful participation in public life is promoted. Armed conflicts and terrorist attacks continue to have a devastating impact on the lives and dignity of women. UN Security Council Resolution 1325 was path-breaking, which underlined women's participation as being key to resolving conflicts and securing peace. The WPS agenda has a transformative potential, but there are still challenges to its realization. Lack of enabling environment, inequalities, and discriminatory power structures hinder effective conflict prevention and inclusive peace processes. The WPS normative framework needs to be powered by action. Governments, the UN, regional organizations, civil society, and other actors must implement their commitments to ensure women's full, equal, and meaningful participation in political processes and decision-making to promote an inclusive society. Mr. President, one of the most important indicators for strengthening the roots of democracy, pluralism, fundamental rights is the extent to which women are included in the institutions of governance. Greater involvement of women in the higher echelons of decision-making considerably strengthens good governance, and more so in post-conflict situations. India has always called for advancing the democratic framework, the rule of law, and institution building in post-conflict situations, a sine qua non to advance the WPS agenda. Mr. President, under the leadership of Prime Minister, India's development narrative has witnessed a transformational change from women's development to women-led development, and from exclusively government-led to multi-stakeholder inclusive governance model. We believe India's experiences in its women-centric development journey may be useful to our shared pursuit of enhancing women's resilience and leadership. As the world's largest democracy, India offers a unique template for gender-sensitive governance. The Constitution of India ensures participation of women in local governance by mandating not less than 33% reservation of total seats for women. More than 1.3 million elected women representatives, who constitute nearly 44% of total elected representatives, are leading the political decision-making at the grassroots level. Political power of women can only sustain with their socio-economic advancement. In this context, I would like to share numerous good governance initiatives that we have taken to advance holistic empowerment of women. We have leveraged digital technologies to provide greater access to women to finance, credit, technology, and employment. Online bank accounts for over 445 million people have been opened, of which more than 55% of account holders are women. During the COVID-19 pandemic, this initiative helped in direct benefit transfer to nearly 200 million women. Through our Mudra scheme, the government provides collateral-free loans to encourage entrepreneurship and self-employment. About 70% of its beneficiaries are women-owned and operated enterprises. Women have consequently become economically empowered and are providing employment to others as well. And to open up these economic opportunities, equal access to education is fundamental. A large number of women in India are taking up education in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine. In fact, for decades now, girls have been outnumbering boys in medical schools in India. India now has women in important positions of responsibility, not just in businesses, but also in areas of science and technology. Women scientists have played a vital role in research and development in various fields, including tech industry. In fact, women are playing an important part in furthering India's space research and missions. About 27% of The key executive positions in spearheading the Mars orbiter mission were led by Indian women. Mr. President, in keeping with the Indian ethos of the world as one family and the Gandhian values of service to humanity, India has been sharing its developmental experiences and technical expertise with other countries across the globe. Our approach to development partnership was articulated by the Prime Minister of India in his address to the Parliament of Uganda in 2018. I quote, "Our development partnership will be guided by your priorities. It will be on terms that will be comfortable for you, that will liberate your potential and not constrain your future. We will build as much local capacity and create as many local opportunities as possible." End quote. Through our developmental cooperation, we have assisted partner countries in a range of fields with a direct bearing on women's progress and upliftment. One such encouraging example of powering up women's development and SDG 7 is the Solar Mamas project. Under this initiative, over 15,000 women, mostly rural with no formal academic training, from 83 countries have received training in solar engineering and related skills in India, providing light and power to over 1,200 villages and 5,000 people worldwide. Mr. President, India has been an active participant in the deliberations on issues focusing on women empowerment and gender mainstreaming at various UN bodies. India fully supports Secretary General's call to action for accelerated implementation of the WPS agenda in implementing the Declaration of Shared Commitments on UN peacekeeping operations and actions on A4P plus priorities. We also welcome SG's uniformed gender parity strategy and are committed to comply with the same so that women's participation and their role in peacekeeping could be enhanced. India supports UN Secretary General's zero tolerance approach towards sexual exploitation and abuse. India was the first country to contribute to the Secretary General's Trust Fund for the Victims of Sexual Exploitation and Abuse, and also signed the Voluntary Compact in 2017. Prime Minister of India had himself joined the Circle of Leadership on the prevention of and response to sexual exploitation and abuse in the UN operations. India's contribution of the female-formed police unit to the UN mission in Liberia, first ever women contingent in the history of UN peacekeeping operations, helped increase participation of Liberian women in the security sector from 6% to 17%. Indian female engagement team with MONUSCO has also been instrumental in enhancing local women engagement in Guma in eastern DRC. Mr. President, terrorism and violent extremism continue to be one of the biggest violators of human rights and threats to global peace and security. Needless to say, women and girls invariably suffer disproportionately. Terrorist attacks deserve strong condemnation and call for collective adoption of zero tolerance approach. The Council must focus its attention on the consequences of terrorism on the rights of women. It must strive to effectively integrate WPS considerations into sanctions regimes, including by listing terrorist entities involved in violence against women in armed conflicts. It is important that in conflict situations, the spotlight on women and minority issues is maintained. A case in point is Afghanistan. We also heard the first-hand account earlier today. The world cannot look the other way when the rights of women and minorities are being trampled upon. There has been an increasing attempt towards removing women from public life in Afghanistan. We call for women and minorities to be included in Afghanistan future and their rights fully respected as affirmed in UN Security Council Resolution 2593. Mr. President, in conclusion, India is committed to engaging with all its partners to work towards mainstreaming of WPS considerations for building inclusive, peaceful, and resilient societies. India's commitment and experience of enhancing women's resilience and leadership across sectors will continue to guide our actions on taking the WPS agenda forward. I thank you.